introduction.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the meeting of the Mayor and Council of Princeton, New Jersey. It's July 8th, 2024. Madam Deputy Clerk, could we do the meeting statement, please?
Certainly. Adequate notice of this meeting was provided in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act, including the time, date, and location of the meeting. In addition, the agenda and all related materials were posted electronically and made available to the public on Princeton's meeting portal in advance of the meeting.
Thank you. Eve's going to do the land acknowledgement for us.
We gather today on the land of the Lenni Lenape. As members of the Princeton community, we aspire to show appreciation, respect, and concern for all peoples and for our environment. We honor the Lenape and other indigenous caretakers of these lands and waters, the elders who lived here before, the indigenous today, and the generations to come.
Thank you. Could we have roll call, please?
Ms. Perron-Lambros?
Here.
Ms. Niedergang?
Here.
Mr. Cohen?
Here.
Ms. Sachs?
Here.
Ms. Fraga?
Here.
Mr. Newland?
Here.
Mayor Frida?
Here. If you'd like to stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, let's start with announcements or, thank you, announcements or reports from members of council. Anybody have anything to share tonight? Okay, it's a good sign. All right, we're going to hit the public hearing. First up is the 2024-2025 budget of the Princeton Special Improvement District that was introduced and quote-unquote approved at the June 10th meeting. So I don't know that, Isaac, do you have comments to, and just introduce yourself, the usual.
Sure. Good evening, Your Honor. Always have to ask. Working? Yep. Excellent.
I think so.
Great. So Isaac Kramer, Executive Director of Experience Princeton. I'm pleased to be here before you tonight. I'm going to give a quick summary of our work over the last year, just to orient us, so you'll have a good expectation and a better understanding of what you see before you. So with that, work done over the last fiscal year just completed follows. We've had the Experience Princeton meetups continue to be a focal point for us, always the last Thursday of the month. We've also instituted a virtual meetup starting on the first Thursday of each month, and we're finding we're getting a good turnout for each. So it just shows you how we put ourselves out there and really try to connect all the ways we possibly can. Our Princeton Monthly newsletter has grown from 3,408 subscribers to 4,311. So we see some nice incremental growth in that over the last year, and we're still seeing around a 50% open rate. The website directory now features over 750 businesses on it, so that's all the businesses in Princeton pretty much. Anecdotally, I've heard of business owners when their colleagues or customers are coming to town, they point people to the directory looking for things to do. So that's working. I encourage you to take a look. We have a growing number of events on our website calendar, typically averaging between 50 as many as 100 each month. So we're really keeping on top of that, and likewise, it's become a valuable resource. Princeton Restaurant Week grew from 40 to 44 restaurants, and our sponsorship level tripled over last year, allowing for broad regional and statewide coverage of that real signature event. Discover Central New Jersey, one of our partners, has increased their coverage of Princeton from 2 restaurants to 16 in the last year. In their brochure that goes out, 30,000 copies of it, and also on their website. So that makes us the undisputed capital of farm-to-table restaurants, at least in Central New Jersey, if not broader. Next up, we redid the lights on Heinz Plaza. Needed to be done. We did it for the streetscapes team. Nassau Street tree wells were filled with flowers. Another need to be done item. Looking great. Drought tolerant too, so that's a win there. Holidays continue to be a focal point. Our campaign in the last year got statewide coverage, and we're already planning and looking to tweak that as we go into the next season. We advocated for an outdoor dining ordinance, working with our friends and partners in the municipality. We assisted and helped to achieve the higher level of Sustainable Jersey certification, the silver level, with Experience Princeton We supported the master plan listening sessions. I know a number of members also served on the committee, and we came out in favor of the master plan as we went into that final hearing. We held 3 business roundtables in August, December last year, and May this year. We attended the ICSC, International Council of Shopping Centers, deal show in New York City last December, and more recently a DARE network event with 30 mayors and 30 developers. And I have to say, we were represented so well in Princeton at that event. It really stood out, and I wanted to thank the mayor for attending that with me. We welcomed 15 new businesses to the district in the last year. That's equal to the 15 we welcomed last year, so we're ahead of 30 businesses now. And in May, I attended the Main Street Now conference in Birmingham with a first-time volunteer. And a little plug, next year the conference is in Philly from April 6th to 9th. So I want to make sure we have a good turnout from Princeton there, and that'll actually be reflected in the budget. Just wrapping up, we submitted our Main Street, New Jersey community designation. We're waiting to hear from the governor's office this month, whether Princeton's selected. We did a board training with a national expert in February. We welcomed 4 board members last cycle, but I can give you some breaking news. We've added 2 more board members last month, so we're so pleased to have Caleb Byring, Raul Momo, Julie Drobitz, and Jennifer Podolsky, and the 2 new members, Bill Hare and Rachel Granger. Real high quality, all of them, and all contributing to our work in really important ways. My last 2 points are we gave testimony before the state legislature on the importance of SIDS. I was joined by your colleague, Councilmember Pearl Ambrose. And last but not least, we're involved in efforts to prepare for the 250th anniversary in 2026. Moving on to speak to the budget before you. Largely the budget as presented conforms with the work plan that we've already developed and put out. If you'd like a point of reference, you can look at the annual report on our website. There's a few variances, though, which I'd like to highlight, and I'll go team by team with each of our 4 teams. Starting off with economic development. We've actually seen on-budget reduction of $30,000, but we're going to carry over $36,500 of funds from the last fiscal year that were unspent to cover work we hope to do, hiring a planning consultant to work both with us and the businesses, but to capture that feedback and share it with the experts with the municipality, really in a collaborative process. So while it's a reduction, we are going to keep our activity level up. And by the way, we have 5 highly qualified planning consultants we're evaluating and hoping to get close to making that decision in the next few weeks. Next up, streetscape scheme. We removed the $25,000 public art line item, and we're adding a $5,000 line item for 10 storefront improvements, $500 each. Just quick-in improvements that make 10 storefronts look better. The remainder of the funds, slight addition, will go towards streetscapes improvements. Think about plantings, banners, etc. on Witherspoon North and other sub-areas outside of the downtown. Next up, the marketing team. We're actually increasing $20,000 over last year. We've had a banner year with marketing. A number of the things I mentioned with the contractor we've been working with, and this is going to give us the flexibility to do more, take on more things, and get the Princeton name out there more and more. And last but not least, the admin team requested a $10,000 increase for secretarial support. And I looked at that and I said to myself, well, what I'd like even more than that is people who can work on specific projects and needs as they come up. So we actually increased the contract services line item from $11,000 to $19,000. And I'm looking to utilize subcontractors to help with grant writing and volunteer training especially. And with that, I'll just finally note the general and administrative line items have only seen minor changes to reflect our actual levels of activity as opposed to what we thought they might be. But again, each of them are minor. The largest increases are for contract services, as I mentioned, salary and payroll and tax expense, annualized rent increase, and a larger travel and meetings line item, again, to assist us with the conference coming up next April. Finally, I'll note we added a 3% contingency to the budget this year, and that was on the good advice of one of our board members who's very well versed in things like contingencies. So that's going to help give us the coverage, but also the flexibility as needs come up. With that, that's my presentation. I'm open to questions, and I would like to urge the passage of the resolution before you. Thank you.
Thanks, Isaac. Any council, oops, okay, we'll start down at the end, Michelle,
Thank
Eve,
you.
and then we'll work our way down.
I just want to offer some thanks. First of all, to thank you, Isaac, for being an executive director that is impeccable in your knowledge, your experience, your breadth of experience that you bring to the table. Never ceases to amaze me. You always have resources that we're able to tap into. And it's just a pleasure to work with you and the whole board. So thank you. And I also just want to thank particularly the whole executive committee. I see that Andrew Siegel's here in the audience, Helena May, and Bob Hillier. In particular, I also want to point out that Aubrey Haynes has just signed up for a third year as the president of the board, which is no small task when you have a full-time job. But anyway, I just want to thank everyone in the board as well, the new members, the outgoing members that served. And it's just, I think at the 2-year mark here, we have accomplished a great deal of what's on the work plan, but there's more to come. So thank you.
Eve?
I have a real question, really not about the SID budget, but about your report. You talked about the restaurants or the stores that were opening, and I'm wondering what kind of information you're gathering when stores or restaurants, when businesses close down in Princeton, and are you doing kind of the equivalent of an exit interview that you do with an employee leaving to see what were the issues, what could be done? Is this purely internal? Are there issues relating to the Princeton business climate that could be improved? This is not a question I came prepared with, but as you were talking about restaurants opening, I'm like, and I see places closing as well. So I'm just wondering how much you and Experience Princeton know about that and how you're able, if at all, to look into that and make sure the same issue doesn't happen again to the next.
Thank you, Councilmember. So the way that I address that is we often think in terms of recruitment and retention. And for me, retention is the quiet work that we do. We don't come out and say there's a struggling business and I spend 6 or 8 hours with them to help troubleshoot, connect them with resources, et cetera. But yes, we do monitor and track every business that opens and closes just as a practical item. We need to do that so we can keep our website up to date and do various other things. So, but generally speaking, we've had more businesses open than close, and many of the businesses that have opened really are of the quality that I think speaks well to the district and have really added to the mix. So I know everyone's talking about Triumph opening. That's really noteworthy and important. But I was so pleased to be at Amicus Therapeutics, that just added 150 employees to the heart of our town. And to see that they're engaged corporate citizens getting actively involved in a number of nonprofits, I think it really speaks to the vitality of what's happening here today. But to say that everything's perfect, that there's nothing out there that we could improve upon, would not be forthright. So we are looking at how we can continue to partner with the municipality. We hear a lot about relief for regulations, making ordinances more common sense, so that businesses can apply and open in a timely manner. I have had a number of prospects, actually, that have tried to come into the market, but for a variety of reasons have said no. So we do have our work before us, as your colleague mentioned, but overall, more opening than closing. And for the ones that are struggling, that we really want the message to get out, please reach out to us, talk with us early and often, because we'll do anything we can to make sure every business has a chance to be successful in Princeton.
Thank you.
Wait.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I just want to, Isaac, acknowledge what we started off with Michelle. Your advocacy, your lobbyist ability, your ability to be a Pied Piper. You came here kind of unannounced, walked slow at first, but now you're carrying a big stick, and I see you everywhere, and we can see the fruits of your labor becoming the fruits of our labor, and we want to thank you for that. I also want to recommit to you that one of the things that I'm looking at in particular is our ability to attract women-owned and minority-owned businesses. I want to see that percentage grow, and I recommit today and tonight to continue to help you along those lines. What we saw during the Juneteenth celebrations, as we reached out to locally owned within the municipality and the greater county area to look at minority-owned businesses, what we found was a plethora of not just good but great minority-owned businesses, and there is no good reason why we might not be able to attract some of those dynamic businesses here to the town of Princeton. So thank you. Please keep up the good work, and again, I recommit to help you in any and every way that I can. Thank you.
Again, agree wholeheartedly, appreciate the comments. Underrepresented businesses, the biggest obstacle is financing. That they're underrepresented, but also one of the least funded of all the sectors. So when we're looking at that, I think it's multi-pronged, including work with our partners in state government, including the New Jersey Economic Development Authority. I do a number of referrals to the New Jersey Business Action Center as well, which is really the point person in state government for any business. It's free, so encouraging people to use that. But, you know, honestly, in response to the council member, that I find the towns that do best when they're looking to cultivate underrepresented businesses are the ones that really go out of their way to be present, to connect resources, and really to celebrate. Because if you're a woman, if you're a minority, and you're opening a business, that makes you pretty unique. So I know I always look out for that, as do you and others, and I think we want to continue to be inclusive and welcoming for anyone who wants to open a business and add to the vitality of Princeton. So thank you.
Okay. I know that Isaac and I had talked earlier today. I just had a couple questions on the format of the budget, but we figured out how we'll address those. But I have that's in no way a negative comment about the budget. If nobody else has a comment on anything Isaac has just said or presented, we'll move to number 2, which is the resolution to actually adopt the budget.
Thank you.
Yeah, let me just read it first. As I just have to say that on the advice of our attorney, I have to change the wording a little bit. I think we misworded it a little as we worked off the wording from the June 10th meeting when we first introduced this and approved it. At June 10th, we had a little discussion. We used the word approve, but tonight what we're doing is actually adopting the budget. So the word approve should not be in the resolution tonight. So the resolution's going to get shortened a little bit. So 24-200, resolution of the Mayor and Council of Princeton adopting the 2024-2025 budget of the Princeton Special Improvement District, period. So, Michelle, you were going to move that?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to.
Okay,
approve
thank
that.
you. Is there a second? Thank you. Layton's got the second. Council comments or questions? Seeing none? Okay, any public questions, comments on this? Anybody in the room? Anybody on Zoom? All right, not seeing any hands up. We'll close the public hearing and ask for a roll call vote.
Ms. Perone-Lambros?
Yes.
Ms. Niedergang?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Sachs?
Yes.
Ms. Fraga?
Yes.
Mr. Newland?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next up is a plenary retail consumption liquor license application of Highgate Hotel LP, TA Graduate Hotel. And I guess we need to just move this and approve it. Is that correct, or how do we handle this? Sorry.
You do need to hold a public hearing because you're issuing a new license, basically. So you should ask if there's anyone in the public, including the applicant. I don't know, Dawn, were there any objections received for this?
I have not heard of any.
Okay. The good news is, if there are no written objections, you can actually dispense with the hearing. I would nonetheless recommend that you open it up in case anyone has questions.
Well, luckily, I see we have someone who's going to talk. So if, for the record, if you would just say your name and connection and then just go into, you have 3 minutes for your spiel.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Dorothy Belinsky, and I'm an attorney with Fakery Drinker. I'm here on behalf of the applicant. There's no objections that I'm aware of, so I'm really here to just answer any questions if anybody has any.
Okay, so that's good. So why don't we do this? Can we get a motion on this? Michelle's got the motion, Leticia's got the second. Are there any council questions or comments on the application? Okay, Are there any public comments, questions on the application? Nobody in the room? Anybody on Zoom with a comment or question? All right. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, and do we have a roll call vote on this also?
Ms. Perron-Lambros?
Yes.
Ms. Niedergang?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have read the resolution number and everything before I asked us to start voting. My bad. Let me just back up and say, this is Resolution 24201, resolution of the Mayor and Council of Princeton authorizing the issuance of a new hotel, in quotes, 36 liquor license pursuant to NJSA 33-1-12.20 for Highgate Hotel LP TA Graduate Hotels. Now could we do the roll call vote? Sorry.
Ms. Perron-Lambros?
Yes.
Ms. Niedergang?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Sacks?
Yes.
Ms. Fraga?
Yes.
Mr. Newland?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, we have 8 sets of minutes to approve. I don't know if we have anybody here that missed any of them, or did? Okay. Did anybody else miss anyone, or can we?
We both missed that one.
All right, we'll just whip through them one by one so we don't get too confused on who's abstaining and who's doing what. Okay, the April 8th minutes, would someone like, Eve, thank you very much. Layton's got the second. Questions or comments? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, Michelle abstains on April 8th. April 9th, would someone move those minutes? Thank you, Layton. Is there a second? Thank you, Eve. Questions or comments? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. April 16th, would someone move those? Thank you, Mia. Is there a second? Thank you, Layton. Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. April 25th, would someone move those minutes? Thank you, Eve. Layton's got the second. Any questions or comments? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. April 29th, would someone move? Thank you, Layton. Is there a second? Thank you, Mia. Questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I'm sorry, which one was that?
That was April 29th.
April 29th.
No, I'm still good.
Oh, still good, okay. May 13th, would someone move those? Thank you, Eve. Layton's got the second. Questions or comments? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Abstentions? Okay. May 28th, if someone would move those. Thank you, Mia. Layton's got the second. Questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay. June 5th, if someone would move those. Thank you, Eve. Is there a second? Thank you, Mia. Questions or comments? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
And I'm-
opposed?
Sorry, I have to go back. May 28th is where I abstain, where
Okay.
I wasn't present.
All right, Dawn, you got it. Okay, cool. Thank you. Thanks, Leticia. All right, June 5th, I think I just did the ayes. Were there any nays? Any abstentions? Okay, there we go. We got through those minutes. Thank you. I know that was very exciting.
Yeah, and thank you for all the minutes, you, Raina, the whole clerk's office, thank you.
Yeah, good to get them out. Okay, next up is public comments for items not on the agenda. I know, Dan, that you signed up for one, but I just, come on up, and I'm just giving my usual spiel. Public comments for items not on the agenda, just to remember people, this is for items that are not already on the agenda. It's for something that's, as I said, not on the agenda. If you would state your name and your address, and then you have 3 minutes to say whatever. Go ahead, Dan.
Dan Rappaport, 300 Bund Drive. 2 weeks ago, there was mention in the town topics about a resolution about making improvements on North Harrison Street. These remarks are addressed mainly to David and Michelle. I don't understand how this could have been acted on by the council without being brought to the attention of the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee. And it's my understanding from Lori Harmon that a lot of stuff that's been discussed about this by town council has been discussed without the knowledge of the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee. My concern is that if you narrow Harrison Street for travel lanes, you're just going to create a bigger queue for trying to get across Nassau Street or trying to make a left-hand turn. And while I was working at one of my jobs between 2019 and 2022, I was fully aware of what it was like between 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock. And I've been fully aware of what it's like trying to make a left-hand turn from North Harrison onto Nassau Street, and the solution is to have a left-hand turn signal. So if you were to use the appropriate solution, having a left-hand turn signal, not enough traffic would be able to get into a left-hand turn lane. Apparently, there wouldn't be a left-hand turn lane. I appreciate the idea of Vision Zero, but this isn't going to address Vision Zero. It's going to create more accidents.
Okay.
Please rethink the policy and try to do something that's good for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
So, Dan, we have a big agenda on Wednesday night, the PBAC, but we can make sure that we talk about this at PBAC on Wednesday. And there is a corridor study being undertaken right now, so that's where we are on this.
Yeah, so no action is actually.
No action,
Decision.
no
There's
decisions
no
have
final
been made.
decision on it yet. It was simply allowing for a study.
Yeah,
Oh,
But
Okay.
your comments are appreciated.
yeah.
will you let us know when you're going to be talking about it again?
Well,
Of
yes,
course,
sure, it's,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, and we'll
Thank
address
you.
it on Wednesday. Thank you, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks for coming.
Are there any other public comments for items not on the agenda? Nobody else in the room? Anybody on Zoom? Okay, we'll close that part of the meeting. Now we have an ordinance public hearing, ordinance 2024-27, an ordinance by the municipality of Princeton concerning the green development checklist and information statement, and amending Chapter 10B of the Code of the Township of Princeton, New Jersey, 1968. Eve will move that. Is there a second? Thank you, Leighton. Council questions, comments on this? Eve?
Thank you, Mayor. A lot of hard work went into getting this revised checklist to this point, and I just want to issue some thanks to some people that spent a lot of time working on this. I think only one of those people is here, which is Justin, our planner. Thank you, Justin. For those who are not here, Ann Sush, the chair of the Environmental Committee, and Lisa Marcus Levine, the vice chair. Former PEC, that's the Princeton Environmental Commission member, Zenon Chekcharny, and also Dan Weissman in the engineering department. This checklist is hopefully a big improvement over the last one, and hopefully will lead to improved results as developers think about the environmental consequences of actions that they're taking. The Environmental Commission and others drew on similar checklists throughout the state. And the Environmental Commission is going to be developing basically a glossary of, I don't know if that's the right term, a description of some of the details of these terms so that if a developer wants to know, for example, why bird-proof glass is a good idea, they can look for a short summary of the arguments in favor of that and weigh those environmental costs versus the dollar cost. So I just want to extend my thanks to everyone involved.
Thank you, Eve. Other council comments or questions? Clayton?
Yeah, I just want to back up what Eve said. I read through this very, very carefully, and it just reminds me, I think, for the greater public to understand and to know that, you know, smart growth, wise choices. Princeton is growing, yes, but we as council members and mayor, staff are putting all of the necessary points in place. Whereas we grow, we do so with sustainability, social equity, and environmental justice in mind. This is a tour de force checklist that any developer who wants to do business here in Princeton has got to go forward, go through it, and check off all the boxes. And if you got some no answers to these boxes, you might as well not even come to the planning board or the zoning board of adjustment because you haven't done your homework to meet the requirements of how we want to go forward in good growth and to take care of the people as we do grow. So this is a great instrument, and I would recommend everyone here and in Princeton to look over this if you have any questions whatsoever about our intentionality with smart growth and wise choices. Thank you.
Thanks, Leighton. Other council? David?
Yeah, I just want to comment as someone who's served on the planning board for quite a while that this checklist is really valuable. Even the old one had been really valuable. We can't really require developers to do things that are not mandated under state law, but the checklist helps us to separate the developers who are greenwashing from the developers who are really sincere and knowledgeable and thoughtful about what they're doing. And that is really valuable as the planning board tries to hold their feet to the fire for things that we can require. So really useful tool.
Thank you. Michelle?
I just wanted to add one more thanks, and that's to my colleague, Councilwoman Eve Niedergang. Thanks for your leadership.
Thank
at
you, Eve.
DEC. Appreciate it.
Jim? Amir?
I just wanted to add one caveat to David's statement, which is there is an instance in which we can hold developers' feet to the fire and impose conditions that exceed state standards, and that's when we use the redevelopment statute. So,
Good point.
Any other council questions or comments? Okay, anything from anyone in the audience, in the room? Comments, questions? Okay. Anybody on Zoom? Terrence, is there anybody on Zoom that has a question or comment? Okay, no hands are up. All right, so we'll close the public hearing and a roll call vote, please. Thanks, Dawn.
Ms. Pearl-Lambros?
Yes.
Ms. Niedergang?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Sachs?
Yes.
Ms. Fraga?
Yes.
Mr. Newland?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next up are ordinance introductions, and as I usually say, most of the times we do introductions. Introductions aren't discussed because the introduction announces when the public hearing would be, and the discussion is held at the public hearing. First up is ordinance 2024-29, an ordinance by the municipality of Princeton regulating parking on Valley Road and Hodge Road and amending Chapter 19 of the Code of the Borough of Princeton, New Jersey, 1974, and Chapter 11 of the Code of the Township of Princeton, New Jersey, 1968. The public hearing is July 22nd, 2024. David's making the motion. Michelle has the second. Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Pearl-Lambros?
Yes.
Ms. Niedergang?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Sachs?
Yes.
Ms. Fraga?
Yes.
Mr. Newland?
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 2024-30, ordinance by the municipality of Princeton, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, adopting the redevelopment plan for the Princeton Theological Seminary properties for the real properties designated as Block 35.01, lots 25 and 26, and Block 36.01, lots 15, 16, and 17. The public hearing will be July 22nd, 2024, and that public hearing date assumes that the planning board has their hearing before that date. So is there, okay, Leighton's got the motion, Leticia's got the second, and that's a roll call vote.
Ms. Pearl-Lambros?
Yes.
Ms. Niedergang?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Sachs?
Yes.
Ms. Fraga?
Yes.
Mr. Newland?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Resolutions, 24-202, resolution of the mayor and council of Princeton authorizing an increase of $54,000 to the not-to-exceed amount of the professional services agreement with Parker McKay, PA, for conflict counsel services for the Historic Preservation Commission for a new not-to-exceed amount of $60,000. Is there a motion on that? Thank you, Mia. Leighton's got the second. Questions or comments? David?
Yeah, I just have a question. It appears that this increase in workload for the conflict counsel would be offset by a decrease in the workload for the regular counsel. And I'm wondering if there is any offsetting credit, I guess, that we're receiving from the primary counsel in recognition of the reduced workload.
I don't know if anybody has the answer to that.
The HPC work, we're paid by the hour, so the reduced workload, you won't so much see a credit as simply a lower bill. And a lot of this work is actually paid for through, I believe, through escrow accounts as well.
Actually, I'm sorry, I
No,
checked that with
not at the
Elizabeth, not for the Historic Preservation
Gotcha.
Commission,
So I misspoke on
unfortunately.
that, but you will see lower bills because obviously we'll be doing less work.
Right, okay.
Other questions or comments? Eve?
Sorry, just a quick follow-up. Are legal bills roughly equal between the new firm? Again, David and I had a brief conversation about this. It went from like a not to exceed 6,000 to a not to exceed 60,000, which just seemed like a large increase. Are the bills for the different attorneys relatively the same billing, or, I mean, I'm just curious about the vast increase.
I'm not sure the difference between the two hourly rates off the top of my head, but the cause for the increase is because of the magnitude, once it became clear that there's going to be a real lot of cases where there's the conflict.
Thank you.
And I just heard actually from the HBC chair this morning that, to Justin's point, that the level of cases is dramatically increased, and
Easy.
sorry, losing my voice
Okay.
for that.
Yeah, there's like about 30% of the cases have to be handled by the other attorney.
Yeah.
We will find out, Justin, if you could just shoot an email to council at some point saying, here's the hourly rates of each. That'd be great. Okay, I think that was, okay, any other questions or comments?
No.
All right, and as long as Mia is still alive, we're okay. Did you have anything else you want to try to add, or are you good?
Just that there have been an increasingly high number of residents from various advocacy groups in town showing up at HPC and asking questions, which I think are good questions about how the town does what it does, and so I think they felt the need for greater legal scaffolding to support that, which I think is a good idea, and I am still alive.
Okay, good. All right, any other questions or comments? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Next up, Resolution 24-203, resolution of the Mayor and Council of Princeton authorizing an amendment to the term of the professional services agreement with Arcadis US Inc. for Hamilton Avenue sanitary sewer replacement engineering design and bid phase services with no change to the contract total. Eve has got the motion, and would someone second that? Thank you, David. Questions or comments? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
24-204, resolution of the Mayor and Council of Princeton authorizing the award of a contract to SHI International Corp. for Barracuda 995 backup appliance for $88,843.08, utilizing New Jersey Cooperative Purchasing Alliance contract number BC-BID-24-38, computer equipment and peripherals. Thank you, Leticia. Layton's got the second. Questions or comments? Michelle?
No, I'm just going to comment that I think that IT, Phil and his team are doing a great job of doing upgrades and making sure that we're secure in terms of our backup, which is really essential. Something you don't see and you take for granted, but with technology, it's important in these times. So thank you.
Yeah, over the last couple of years, our technology platform has been incredibly improved and is much more reliable and does much more of what we expect it to do. And Terrence is actually filling in the back room right now so that we were able to broadcast and record this meeting.
Thanks, Terrence.
Yeah, thanks back there. All right, any other questions or comments? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
24-205, resolution of the Mayor and Council of Princeton authorizing the sale of surplus personal property no longer needed for public use on an online auction website. David has the motion. Is there a second? Thank you, Layton, sorry. Questions, comments? All right, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
24-206, resolution of the Mayor and Council of Princeton authorizing the appointment of an emergency management coordinator. David's got the motion, Layton's got the second. Questions or comments? David?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment for anybody who is reading this closely. One of the assistant coordinators is Chief Bucheri, being appointed for a 3-year term. He will not be here to fill out his term, but they will appoint somebody new once he's retired.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Layton, did you have?
Just want to say, you know, Michael Ye is a great asset to Princeton, and I'm happy he's here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
24-207, resolution of the Mayor and Council of Princeton authorizing site license agreements with Crown Castle Fiber LLC at 101 Drake's Corner Road and 102 Cherry Hill Road. Eve's got the motion, Mia's got the second. Questions or comments? Eve?
Just want to comment that these new and improved installations are going in on the same pole, so there's no further clutter of the roadway or the environment, just more on the same pole.
Thank you. Other questions or comments? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
24-208, resolution of the Mayor and Council of Princeton authorizing an increase of $6,500 to the not-to-exceed amount of the professional services agreement with T&M Associates for construction design support services in connection with Phase 3 of the Witherspoon Street project for a new not-to-exceed amount of $21,500. David's got the motion, Layton's got the second. Questions or comments? All right, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
24-209, resolution of the Mayor and Council of Princeton awarding a contract for extraordinary unspecifiable services to White Buffalo, Inc. for an amount not to exceed $162,000 for specialized deer management services. Eve has the motion. Is there a second? Thank you, Layton. Questions or comments? All right. I'm sorry? Oh, yeah, sure, go ahead.
Not going to be difficult, but I just want to know which part this is specifically for. When we say specialized management, does that mean
The contract
the
is
killing
for
of the deer?
both for the community-based deer management plan that we've done for years and for the surgical sterilization.
And for the sterilization?
Yes, they're both in the contract. That's in part why you see a higher not-to-exceed amount because that amount incorporates both the surgical sterilization budget and then the separate budget for the sharpshooting component of the program. But yes, this will cover the surgical sterilization.
So Eve, do you want to talk a little bit about this? I think it's important for the public to know that Princeton has been out ahead in trying to push the state legislature to allow us to engage in practices that do not involve killing the deer, but involve making sure that they don't reproduce, which is a more humane approach.
Sure, I can talk a little bit about this. So just, Trishka, is this our third year trying to do this or just the second?
No, this will be the third year.
Third year
and
trying to do this.
Yeah, and we're approaching it a little bit differently.
Okay, well, you can speak to that, but I'll just say that we're dealing with a kind of antiquated structure here at the state level that basically is designed in fish and wildlife is designed to encourage hunting for sports rather than deal with a deer population that is out of kilter with the environment. So we are trying, and Trishka Sessa, our attorney, has been playing a lead role in this, trying to get this division of the DEP to think about what they do a little bit differently to allow us to first do deer management at all, and now, as Mia said, to try a non-lethal approach in areas such as my neighborhood, Riverside, Littlebrook, other areas where it's simply not possible to use other methods to try to get in and sterilize does. It's really an amazing, very quick procedure where they dart them, anesthetize them, bring them to a facility, do a quick tube tying, I think it is. And is that right? And then the doe is back on its feet and released back into its habitat within a very short period of time. And they've done this in other places, so it does not harm the deer in any way. The deer will be tagged so that we won't be recapturing the same doe at a later point, and also to warn potential hunters that the deer has been treated in some way and they might want to avoid eating it. So hopefully the state this year will accept this. It has been done in other places, I think Staten Island, some other areas as well, so it's not really experimental, but it hasn't been done in New Jersey before, so there's a lot of resistance to doing something that's new and different. And again, I want to reference our animal control officer, Jim Ferry, who's an integral part of this effort, and Trishka, who has been involved with the municipality's deer management for as long as it's been going on, and her knowledge of the ins and outs and of the state bureaucracy is second to none. I'm not sure if that's a compliment or an insult. Anyway, Trishka, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, because as I said, we're approaching it a little differently, and if you don't mind, I'll just explain it, because then you'll have additional resolutions, and then you'll understand the context. So, as Eve said, this is the third year now that we're trying to get permission from the state. The first year, I think there was just some confusion. There were reasons. Last year, we still folded it into our community-based deer management plan explicitly. And I think, again, that created some bureaucratic issues. So I believe that they actually instructed us to keep them completely separate, because we need a very different kind of permit for the fertility control. It's called a permit to inhibit wildlife reproduction. So this is why you had this separate resolution authorizing the separate submission of that application, and it's why we're referring to it as something that we are doing to supplement our efforts. This is really to try to divorce the two so that we reduce the amount of bureaucratic hurdles that we may encounter with the state. What I can tell you is, the other thing is that the resolution that authorizes the submission of that application does explicitly authorize White Buffalo to work directly with Fish and Wildlife. That's because this is science, they're wildlife biologists, I can't translate, and they know the ins and outs better than I do of getting this kind of permit. As determined as you guys are to use non-lethal here, as determined as I am to see it happen, White Buffalo is exponentially more determined. They, as scientists, it drives them crazy that the state is not allowing this. It just drives them nuts. And they are determined to make sure that they succeed in, in enabling Princeton to do this. We're very hopeful that it's going to be this year. I don't like to ever predict the future because sometimes we're bad at it, but they are determined to see this through. So, and that's also, by the way, why we have it before you much earlier than usual, because we're trying to build in a lot of lead time. So the community-based deer management plan is going to be the same as it's always been, with an explicit reference to the fact that separately we're doing this other thing, but we are keeping them divorced so that one doesn't hold up the other. Hence all of the different resolutions.
Thank you for that. Mia, you had another comment?
I know I've asked this question before, and I'm sorry. Just remind me again why the burden falls on the female deer as opposed to the male deer. It does seem like a vasectomy would be much easier than...
One male can impregnate multiple females, but there are only so many females that can be pregnant and carry fawns. So in other words, if you're sterilizing the females, you really are reducing, you're basically, God, I hate to put it this way because it's really a crude way of putting it, you're reducing the number of incubators. I hate to say it that way, but you're reducing the number of incubators. And I don't say that to be heartless.
Right, no,
but that's the reality, basically.
Okay, all right, well.
I think
Now,
from what I've
whether
read,
you
that
could do
male
both-
fertility is because it's sperm are continuously produced, it's a little harder to, and also the male deer wander more, the female deer have a more succinct range. So it may, for us, if we were doing like the entire country, maybe, but for us trying to get the most bang for our buck, so to speak, it makes sense to, sorry. Oh my God, that was a bad pun on multiple levels. I take it back. Strike those words from the record.
All right, moving on to, Leighton had a question or comment.
Yeah, I just want to say I read through the report carefully, and I just want to say how fortunate we are here in New Jersey and in Princeton that we have a company like White Buffalo who understand that, and the larger community should understand that deer are a nuisance value and they're a public health and they're dangerous. We love them, but that's a fact. And if we can manage the public health crisis that deer, quite frankly, over this part of the country do present in a humane way, that we're doing it the right way. And as a matter of fact, these White Buffalo, they have contingencies on the actual people that are doing the work, that if they are inefficient in their use of a weapon, they kick them to the curb and get someone that's more efficient. So I think that we as a public have to understand that deer is a crisis that has to be managed, number one, and that we're doing it in the most humanely way possible, number two. It doesn't get any better than that. But we got to recognize initially that deer are of nuisance value and they're a problem, and they cause lives to be lost. Thank you.
Thanks, Leighton. I'm sorry, you had a question?
I just have one final question. So where are we with the net and bolt situation, which hopefully could be minimized?
I think it continues to be minimized. There, my understanding is there are a couple of sites, I don't know how many, maybe a handful where that is the only technique that is available to bring any kind of relief to those particular neighborhoods where people really need the relief. But it is used, I would say, I guess, I hope I'm not overstating by saying it's a last resort, but yes, they try to minimize it.
And we are reassured and have verification that the meat is going to
Yes.
homeless shelters and...
Yes, it's, all of the deer are taken to a butcher for processing who participates in the program called Hunters Helping the Hungry, and that's what directs it. And I believe that with our contract, I'm 99.9% sure that, I believe it's going to food banks in Trenton, so it's staying local.
Okay, great. Thank you for all your work on this, Trishka and Eve and Jim Ferry, and I look forward to the time when I won't have to ask all these questions because the
I look
more
forward to the
humane
time-
program is working.
I look forward to the time when I can
Yeah.
tell you that you would receive this permit and you will be able to implement the sterilization. I'm just not, as I said, I'm not going to try to predict the future and tell you when that'll be, but it will happen, and I look forward to the day that it does.
Great.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
24-210, resolution of the Mayor and Council of Princeton authorizing the 2024 American Rescue Plan firefighter grant application. Thank you, David. Layton's got the second. Any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
24-211, resolution of the Mayor and Council of Princeton awarding contracts as concessions for home energy assessment services in residential units. David's got the motion, Mia's got the second. Questions or comments? David?
Yeah, I just want to mention that these kinds of programs are the absolute easiest way for us as a community to reduce our carbon footprint, and it's been difficult to get people to take advantage of the programs. I think that this idea of having sort of a couple of approved providers, it's been shown to have more uptake in the community, and it makes perfect sense to me that it would do that. So I'm really pleased to see us moving in this direction.
Eve?
Thanks to our friends at Sustainable Princeton, I assume that in addition to the municipality pushing this, you will also be letting people know about this. And I think David's point is exactly right. There's so many sketchy providers in this realm and in solar, and so having, Princeton saying this is a legit provider, you can trust them, is really important. So thank you for persisting in getting this on the agenda and hopefully passing.
Christine, did you want to say a few words for the public to understand what it is and how they could avail themselves of it?
Sure, it is on. Well, I want to say thank you to the council and thank you to Deanna for working with us
I'm sorry.
on
Christine,
this.
if you just say...
Christine Symington, Executive Director of Sustainable Princeton. When I started Sustainable Princeton in 2013, doing a energy efficiency project to promote home performance contractors to do energy audits was one of the first projects that I got involved with. So Princeton does have a history of doing this, of promoting homeowners to get the energy audits. And as David said, it is one of the most proven ways to get people to follow through with energy efficiency upgrades to their homes. And as we see from our emissions inventory, our built environment is the greatest source of our emissions. So the more we can do to have our homeowners make their homes more energy efficient, the more we will be able to meet our climate or greenhouse gas reduction goals. And Alex Dill, my colleague here, will be the program lead on that, and she has been working with Deanna, our day-to-day contact, on what the outreach and education program is going to be to encourage people to sign up for the energy audits.
Thank you. Any questions?
I really appreciate your taking advantage of all PSE&G's very aggressive grant programs. I did my energy audit due to one of the last I think it was Earth Day. There was a time that you had some information about this, and it's really amazing the amount of PSE&G funding that's available to help homeowners and to help commercial as well. So all of your effort is really, I think, going to go to really helping us meet that climate action plan. Once again, thank you for all the effort.
You're
Appreciate
welcome,
it.
and thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 24-212, resolution of the Mayor and Council of Princeton awarding a contract to John Zampini for bow hunting services on public lands in connection with Princeton's 2024-2025 deer management program. Eve has the motion, and Leighton's got the second. Questions or comments? All right, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
24-213, resolution of the Mayor and Council of Princeton endorsing Princeton's application to the New Jersey Division of Fish and Wildlife for designation of a special deer management area and approval of Princeton's 2024-2025 community-based deer management plan. Eve's got the motion, and Leighton's got the second. Questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
24-214, resolution of the Mayor and Council of Princeton authorizing the submission of an application to the New Jersey Division of Fish and Wildlife for a permit to inhibit wildlife reproduction to supplement Princeton's deer management efforts. And Mia's got the motion, Eve's got the second. Questions or comments? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
24-215, resolution of the Mayor and Council of Princeton authorizing the renewal of alcoholic beverage licenses for the 2024-2025 license term. Is there a motion? Thank you, Leticia. Leighton's got the second. Questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Next up is the consent agenda. There's like 9 items there. If none of them need special attention, someone could move it in block. Leticia, move in the whole. Thank you. All right, there's a motion. Eve's got the second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Somebody named David have a motion?
I move that we adjourn.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
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 We are done. Thanks for being here tonight.
That's you.